Good evening, Blues. Welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Stevie, and today I have a special guest joining on the show. It's my good friend David. How are you?
Hi, good evening. I'm good, thanks. You?
Good to see you. We're just a bit of a delay there. We're watching Sports Personality of the Year, right? But you didn't get what you wanted.
No, we've tried to. As Arsenal fans, we like to try and steer as many votes our way as we can, but this one we weren't able to be successful on. So we'll move to the next one.
So we'll get on to the main action. Everton against Arsenal, of course, on Saturday, and it's a match that I think we've both been looking forward to because it's the first visit of the Gunners at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. What have you thought? What have you thought of the stadium and Everton's move so far?
Yeah, I mean the stadium. I mean, to be honest, even before the stadium was finished, you kind of saw the visuals of how it was being built, and it looked like really stunning, being on the riverside. So it'd be lovely to get down there one day to see it for real. It looks like a great stadium. I mean, obviously, watching on TV, you can't get a full sense of the atmosphere, but knowing Everton, I imagine it's a pretty good atmosphere. But you know what? Honestly, with Arsenal's record at Goodison, I'm not going to massively miss Goodison Park. I'm sure you guys do.
Of course, yeah, there is a sentiment. A lot of Everton fans are receiving their seats from Goodison Park at the moment. And actually posts are going up saying, what do I do with this thing now? What do I do with this? But yeah, of course, there is a bit of that sentiment. And, we did beat Arsenal a couple of times in recent years at Goodison. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that you're glad to see the back of it. Obviously,
funny,
this is a game. Yeah, this is the first game where we're actually getting a coach welcome. So for those joining us who are trying to get going to the game, we've been asked to get there early for a couple of reasons. If you can't get there early, at least get there 15 minutes before kickoff, because apparently there's going to be the 1878s are doing their first flags and parade, and there might be something for Super Kev Campbell, and there might be just the traditional flags at both ends. And we've been asked to get in 15 minutes early, which shouldn't be a problem in theory. But a lot of people do go, of course, last minute. And then the other thing is that this is the first time Everton have a coach arrival, actually, which is something that is starting, I think, from a couple of hours to 2.5 hours before kickoff. And they're going to, I don't know how familiar you are with the ground, but basically the west side, which hasn't previously been open to supporters, is going to be open to allow the coach arrival. So I think in the lead up to this match, I think we're going to possibly see one of the most atmospheric nights, certainly this year at the Hill Dickinson. So anyway, we'll move on to kind of where the teams are, and it's basically it's a match where probably Everton. Well, is this a good time for Everton to be facing off against Arsenal, because you only just scraped with that win against was it Wolves?
Yeah, I think it probably is a good time because I mean we've obviously I think we had a dicey game at the weekend, and I think Arsenal fans are feeling a little bit apprehensive at the moment. But it is easy for us to forget we are top of the Premier League and the Champions League, so we are having a good season. So I guess if you're going to pick a time to play us, this is take the time now. It's probably a good shot now while we're not in the best form. The Wolves game was not great, but we scraped through. Thankfully, it was Wolves. We were playing at home. If it was, if we played that game we played last week away to Everton, we probably don't win. Might probably lose, to be honest. But yeah, thankfully about a week.
I think you've got to the sign of a side that that has a good chance of winning the Premier League. It's got to win when it's ugly and when it doesn't go well. And I think that you've had that work to your favour. So I think that's been that's worked well. And I think you've got City they've improved massively. Last year, of course, they had a bit of a blip, almost like what Liverpool have had. But City obviously are pressing high. It wasn't that long ago that Everton were 5th. I think we slipped down to 9th now. Going into this game, obviously it's a night kickoff. It's a long way for supporters. It's a long way for me, but it's a long way for everyone. It's a night game. How would you say that Arsenal will be feeling about this fixture? Will they see this as a potential bogey fixture, or do you think they'll come and do what Spurs did? Because Spurs basically won 3-0 and they ran riot at the HD Stadium because well, it just wasn't good for us, but the set pieces undid us. Do you think that they're looking at this going, that's a hard fixture, or don't you think that that's the case?
I definitely think we'll be looking at this as quite a hard fixture and quite a banana skin. I think, obviously, as we said before, this is the first fixture we're playing you at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, but I think we've got, a lot of memories of very tough games we played away to you at Goodison Park, and I think we would assume that it's going to be similarly tough. Obviously, Saturday night, your fans will be well up for it, presumably well inebriated, probably before the game and ready to cheer your team on. And, you're a good team. Everton this season look better than they have for several years, I think, is my perspective on it. And I think you always give most teams a fairly tough game, especially at home. So I think that we'll be coming into this looking at it as definitely a banana skin. It feels to me like a game that we have to. I mean, I'm not expecting us to turn up and play swashbuckling football because we haven't been playing swashbuckling football recently, although that'd be nice. I'm expecting us to turn up and have a real fight with you, and we'll need to grind our way to victory. We are capable of doing that, though. So, it might well be a set piece or something like that that might get us over the line. I'm sure that's something that we're looking at as a tactic that will help us to maybe get the edge in this game, because I'm sure Arteta is going to be looking at this and thinking it's going to be very closely fought, and the fine margins, the little things like the details on set pieces might be the difference.
100%, and I think that would be something that they would look to exploit, especially if you were to watch a videotape of that Spurs game, which I still have some nightmares over. But they were the first side to win at Everton's new ground, and of course, just generally, we're looking at the head-to-head here. You can see that Arsenal have much had the better of all of the fixtures in the Premier League, and of course, the last game that the two sides played was that draw. In April. I mean, the league had very much gone before that, but Everton managed to draw twice against Arsenal last year. I don't think that means an awful lot. I mean, one of those games wasn't David Moyes' game. The other one was, but you're right. Everton are much more solid this season. They're a different outfit. The Chelsea game was very disappointing. I was down at Stamford Bridge, and I felt like Drewsbury Hall getting taken off early in the game was a very big loss for Everton, and we sort of lost our way a little bit during that first half. And the big thing, obviously, is Chelsea went 2-0 just before, literally just on the stroke of half time, which is always a hard thing to come back for. And I think Everton approaching this game will try to stay in the game, not let Arsenal go 2 up. That has to be the mission. It has to be try and get this game towards the end of the game where we're still either a goal or we're level, because we've seen cases where Everton are competitive, but if they lose 2 or 3 or go behind, the crowd get on top of them and leave. And actually, the last game I was at was the Newcastle game, and we were 4-0 down after 60 minutes, and I was ready to leave, and half the stadium had emptied. So there's a lot of fans, David, that I know that are not going because they're fearful. But I look at this from a different perspective. I think this is Everton's biggest game of the season so far. It will be toppled by the Merseyside derby, give or take the Man United visit, possibly City. But I think this is it. And I think that with Everton playing the league leaders, going really well, Arteta coming, obviously seeing that, there is some romance there, but of course it will be an extremely hard game, and I think it's made even more hard by the teams, and which kind of brings me nicely onto that. And it's a catalogue really of players that are out. I mean, you could build a whole top 11 out of all of the players that are out from both sides. I mean, I'll start with Everton, but we've got Idrissa Gueye on international duty with Illiman and Dye. Now, Gay's come under some bit of a microscope with what happened at Man United. I think Howard Webb tried to explain it, but I don't think anyone will be able to explain it to me.
Howard Webb tries to explain lots of things I don't understand, but
yeah. So Dye and Gueye out on AFCON, but like lots of sides have AFCON players missing. Jared Branthwaite Everton have done really well to keep hold of him. But we miss his pace at the back. But we've had to shuffle around, and we've done well. Michael Keane's had a very good season, and I think that's allowed us to navigate around the issue of not having Jared Brantwaite, because he's absolutely a brilliant player. And then of course Drewsbury Hall now has been added to the injury list, been going so well for us, probably been the star player for the last 3 or 4 games. He even scored a great goal in the 4-1 loss against Newcastle. And then sort of going down the list, we've got Seamus Coleman, who's kind of reached beyond the twilight of his career now. He's probably looking to move into coaching. And I think that he's really struggling to stay fit. He has a hamstring. Merlin Roll has a groin. And of course, all of this is before the press conference. We're recording this on Thursday night at 9:00. So if you're watching this after David Moyes, I do apologise if there are any inaccuracies here. We also have Jack Grealish, who is coming in. He's been playing quite well in the last couple of games after a small dip. I mean, we're talking about great levels, good levels, and then good, and then better than good levels. I mean, we're talking about Grealish probably started on a 10. He dropped to maybe like a 7 or 8 when a lot of defenses were able to nullify him and work out what Everton were doing. He's kind of raised himself back to an 8 or 9. But anyone that's going off to visit kids in the hospital around this time of year has got to be getting a 10, surely. But he's actually got a hamstring injury, David. So there's a chance that he's out, which would be a massive plus for Arsenal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't realize quite how many players you were missing until I was like looking at it the other day. I was like actually going down the list. I was surprised, slightly encouraged that like there's a few, you've got some really good players in Grealish and in Jai in particular. I really like Jai. He's like a really clever player, skillful player. So to not have to face him in Grealish definitely is a boost. And I think Gay's the kind of player that's always a bit of a pest in midfield. So I think, I think it's a boost for us to face a team that's similarly struggling with injuries as we are, because it's really been a bit of becoming the story of our season. I think the big challenge at the moment for Arsenal is to stop injuries becoming the story of our season, like it was last season.
So I've got a few players out for you. See if they tally with your understanding while I've put the Everton predicted lineup, which we'll come to in a minute. But I've got Ben White. Ben White's got hamstring. Havertz, of course, is a doubt. Who else have you got on your list?
Yeah, Havertz is certainly out. I saw some rumours earlier today that he's actually got another setback. So I think this might be his 6th setback or something so far. So he certainly won't be there this weekend, sadly. He's a really good player that we're missing. Gabriel's still missing. Obviously, he's a huge miss. I think that's really important to the way we play as well. It's been affecting us with being without him. Might discuss that.
Gabriel's been out for a while, hasn't he?
He's been out since the last international break with an adductor injury, and I think he might be back around the end of the year, but this game's going to be too early for him, so he won't be there. White, as you say, is missing. I'm sure we're missing other players. I feel like we're always missing other players, so I'm now racking my brain to think who else is. Mosquera, the defender Christian Mosquera is out as well, I think until January. We have got quite a few players back in more attacking positions recently, but they're all kind of coming back into fitness. So there's a little bit of flux in the team as well in that respect. So some players, I think this was part of the problem against Wolves last week as well. It's like you've got players, Odegaard, Martinelli, Gyökeres, Trossard, all have had injuries recently. Saliba, all have had injuries coming back into the team. So they're all available, but to what extent that how fit they all are is a question. And I think it's part of the reason we haven't been as good, I think, in the last few weeks as we were earlier in the season.
To get a result from Everton, from Everton's perspective, to get a result on Saturday, you watch Arsenal every game, and of course you also watch the women. But you're watching Arsenal closely. What would you look if you were in the Everton dressing room? I know that's hard to look at, but if you were saying how would you tactically approach this so that you can nullify Arsenal and get the points? What would Everton have to be looking for?
Yeah, well, I think, I'm sure there were Everton analysts watching our game last week. I was at the Emirates for the Wolves game, and it was a very frustrating half. Oh, lost Stevie. But while I wait for him, I'll continue. It was a very frustrating game against Wolves last weekend, and I think Everton. There we go. Sorry, I was just saying, the game last weekend against Wolves at home, it was a very frustrating first half. Wolves were extremely defensive, extremely deep, as is their right. If you're the team bottom of the league going away to team top of the league, you would sit back like that, which is, sensible for them. But we didn't do anywhere near enough to harm them. And I think if I was Everton looking at that game, I'd be thinking, well, you can see how Arsenal are struggling to break this team down. We weren't playing with enough energy and impetus. So I think just staying very well organised in a defensive shape and always getting players back behind the ball quickly is going to be really important against us. I think
that's what will happen, because I've seen this happen before. Everton will possibly try and. I think Arsenal are going to have possession and Everton's going to be behind the ball. But we've seen this happen where Everton are trying to take it to certain teams, especially at home this season, and it's been fine. But against Arsenal, I just think that you're going to have more of the ball, you're going to be moving it around with the quality and flair that you're able to, and Everton will be somewhat chasing shadows a little bit.
Yeah, I expect that. And I think it so much depends on who gets picked, because I think last weekend against Wolves, we went with Martinelli and Gyökeres and Saka up front. And to be honest, Martinelli and Gyökeres didn't have great games, and Saka did. Actually, I think he was probably our best player. And Saka...
I've just put up my predicted lineup, but I don't know how close this is going to be to what you think.
I think the defence... Oh, sorry, I missed the end of it there. Yeah, so the defence definitely agree. Midfield. So I think Odegaard will start. And the attack... See, there are a few questions there. I don't think it's a bad guess, but I'm sure there's going to be a couple of differences. I felt like Gyökeres and Martinelli as a combination doesn't work brilliantly, especially against a team that's well organised defensively, because they both lack a bit of guile and subtlety that you need to break down a low block. Trossard came on shortly after half-time last weekend, and he made a huge difference almost immediately. And he's been one of our best players this season. He's able to pick passes through a tight defence, which he did actually really well against Wolves a few times. And he's been, as I say, in great form. So I wouldn't be surprised if he starts this match. And Gyökeres as well. He didn't play that well against Wolves. I think to be honest, I think he's had a bit of some harsh criticism from Arsenal fans, but he needs to help himself a bit more as well. I do wonder whether Mikel Merino might start this game, for example. He creates different problems for defences because he's obviously not a natural striker. He'll drop back into the midfield, and your defence will have to wonder what to do. Do they come to him? Do they and leave us to have an extra man in midfield, or do they sit? Do they come out of the defence to try and stop that numerical superiority there? But that will create some space for us going forward. So I do wonder whether you might see like Merino and Trossard starting, because we have looked at our best with those two in the team so far this season, to be honest.
And I think Everton, above everything, have to be prepared that Arsenal are going to come out with a bit of a bounce and a point to prove, because it wasn't the best home performance. And I think that they will look to really kind of cement it. I mean, it's hard being front runners. I mean, I don't really remember us being front runners, but it's easy to look behind. And of course, there's a number of points above some of the other competitors, but it's an action-packed fixture list. And of course, the depth of your squad is going to support that better than ours. Everton have this is the last home game we've actually got this year, but we've actually got 3 home games at the beginning of January. And actually, one of them just got announced for those that have just joined us. Thanks and good evening, everyone, and some of our regulars, of course. The Sunderland FA Cup game, which is at 12:15 just after noon on Saturday. The 10th. The FA Cup has become nonsense with the amount of how far it's spread out and how few games are actually on at 3:00. But anyway, going back to it's really good to get that kind of insight into the Arsenal side. I mean, I think Everton will be bringing in Dibbling to this game. Now, Tyler Dibbling, obviously Everton's most expensive summer signing, has barely got a game. They were desperate to buy and they kept approaching him, but we've just seen snippets of this guy. Obviously, he was really good at Southampton, a lot of promise, played for the England under 21s. But we've not seen him get any sort of stretch of games in a Royal Blue shirt, and it's been really hard for him to find a place amongst the likes of Alcaraz. And we've even seen the likes of Dwight McNeil come on before him. So there's something where they're either trying to protect him, or he's not quite there yet. I don't know, but we're going to see him in this game. And the reason why I say that is because Kieran Dewsbury-Hall is out and Ndai's out. And with that combination of two creative players out, it paves the way for Tyler Dibling to come in. And I think a lot of Everton fans are excited about what he can do. But I just hope that he's able to play the game, get his head down, put in a good performance, and provide some attacking flair and support for Tieno Barry, who I expect is going to have to do an awful lot up front on his own in this game to scrap around. But yeah, I'm excited to see Tyler Dibling get anything close to 90 minutes, but get a decent run in the side, because we just haven't seen him at all. And it's when Everton play £50 million for a player, you expect to see that player in the starting lineup. But credit to Ndai, who's caught the eye by many this season, and he's probably even been a better performer than Dewsbury-Hall and Grealish at times. He's obviously now out because he's got the African Cup of Nations. So Everton they've got Charlie Alcaraz probably coming in for Dewsbury-Hall, and then Irabunum will come in for Ghana. And so Everton will make ourselves quite hard to break down with the extra protection that Irabunum and Ghana, where James Garner are going to give the back four. And of course, Jake O'Brien playing right back as well as an extra comfort zone on the right side. And I think Charlie Alcaraz is going to probably be the creative guy with Dibling. And then Grealish if he's fit. Now, if Grealish isn't fit, it really is a bit of a selection headache for David Moyes. But it could pave the way for the likes of Dwight McNeil. There's a few others on the bench, but we're really down to paper thin squad now. We are getting towards the time where you're looking down the list, you're thinking, oh, he's injured and he's away. So Tyler Dibling, have you seen anything of him? Did you see much of him at Southampton?
Yeah, I do recall. I mean, to be honest, I didn't watch a massive amount of Southampton last season.
I don't think we all did.
Well, but the things the little I did see of them, yeah, he definitely stood out. Looked like quite a skillful player. I mean, maybe I'm probably not the best analyst of him, but he looked slightly Cole Palmer-esque to me. Like he's got a little bit of that flair, bit of the dribbling to him.
For sure. Sure, he is a bit. He has socks rolled down. I mean, he's still a very young guy. And my brother who started the channel, he actually met him, I believe, recently, and seems like a really nice guy. But I do expect Everton will line up with him in the side on this occasion.
Because I think on the left or the right.
I think he'll be on the right, but it does depend. It also depends on what's happening with Grealish as well. I'm just hoping Grealish is fit, because if it's Grealish, Alcaraz, and Dibling with Garner and Irabunum and Barry, I think Everton can at least get a draw. But I think that if Grealish is out, I think we're going to be really stretched, because I'm allowing for the fact that changes will need to be made, and this might just be. I'm not being negative here. This might just be a stretch too far. But Everton have 2 away games after this. And it's just that time of year. You lose men and you lose some of your more talented players, and you start really feeling it. And we don't have a massive squad. So when you lose Gay, Garner, Gay, Dewsbury-Hall, Ndai, potentially Grealish, alongside Branthwaite, Coleman, and Merlin Roll, who actually impressed on some performances, you're looking at best part of an 11 that would almost be the main Everton 11. So it's tough. I don't think this is going to be. That's going to be a very, very hard game for us. I'm not going there thinking, oh, it's going to be easy to even get a draw. I think this will be tight. I think maybe the crowd will help. The atmosphere probably will help. I think it's the first time Everton will play 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. I mean, it's not normally a time you would play a game anyway, but it's
No,
got
we
moved.
had one last week.
Arteta requested it, didn't he?
He did. We had an 8 o'clock last week as well, and it's because of the Crystal Palace game, because we've got to play Crystal Palace on Tuesday in the Carabao
Is that
Cup.
a cup? Is that a quarter final?
Yeah, they had trouble arranging when to play that game, because obviously there were yesterday and Tuesday we had the Carabao Cup quarterfinals, except for our game against Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace are playing right now, I think. And then once Crystal Palace finish playing tonight, they play on Saturday in 2 days' time, which is also unusual. So it was really hard for Palace to schedule their fixtures. I feel like Crystal Palace, to be honest, they're a little bit like they're just being punished this season for all of their successes. It's like, right, well, you've done too well as a football club, Crystal Palace, so now you're going to get punished for this, this, and this, and it's just the latest thing for them. So we've had to have our game moved to Tuesday to play them, and as a result, Arteta wanted the 3 days for us to have between the Everton game and the Palace game. Which concerns me slightly because it makes me think he's going to play a full-strength team against Palace as well. And we're running out of players every game at the moment. But
you can't afford to get injured.
No.
Because there's just so many games. I don't know how many you've got this month. I know that Forest, they have something like 9 games this month, and they play us again. And they haven't got the squad for that, really. And so, yeah, it all depends on who you've got. We've only got 6 games this month, and that's not very many compared to some.
Yeah, I mean, we've got after. Yeah, obviously, I said we've got Crystal Palace game after this, and then we play Brighton and then Aston Villa before the end of the month. But then, even if you're just talking about the end of the month, January starts, and we've got Bournemouth on the 4th, and then Liverpool 3 days later. So it's kind of relentless. And there's
it's a Liverpool game because I think a lot of Everton fans will be interested in that one.
Yeah, 7th of January. I think it's like a Thursday evening. So it doesn't really
football.
Yeah. I know.
It's mad, isn't it? The number of games that get played on a Saturday at 3 o'clock is so low.
Yeah.
Everton, a lot of fans, I'm sure there's fans watching this that will side with me here, are frustrated at the number of midweek games we've got. We just get so many games moved around. We've had Bournemouth move, I think, to Tuesday the 7th or something, or the 10th of February. We've got Man United on a Monday night. Man United like playing Monday nights at the moment anyway. We're just finding that every game is getting moved around. Now, I expected it to be moved for TV on a Sunday, but what's happened seems to be that there's a lot of midweek games, which obviously does make it a challenge if you work and get back. So much so that actually this morning there was a few hundred seats, I believe, actually going up for this game on resale.
Really?
Which we've just not seen at all.
I think it's a Saturday evening thing, to be honest, because like I say, I was at the Wolves game last Saturday, and part of the reason I was at the Wolves game is it's much easier to get a ticket for the 8 o'clock evening kickoffs.
You would think that, though, that would be an attractive time for people to be out.
Yeah, I think it's maybe. I think a lot of it is just because the regulars who go every week, I think it's not the most appealing time for a lot of it. I think it's a time when people think, oh, well, Wolves at home, team bottom of the league, Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Do I really need to go to that, or can I get some Christmas shopping money back? I think it's slightly the attitude of it. So I think as well, it's actually the time of year doesn't help too.
I agree. I think it's a time of year where people are feeling the squeeze. Obviously, if you've got a mortgage, then obviously today's interest news brought to you here by Follow Everton just means because obviously you're an accountant by trade, and and obviously I run an agency, so we're on top of the business things. But the interest rates. But I mean, where Everton fans are interested is very much in the score predictions next, and we normally ask the fans for their predictions, and Everton fans are very optimistic. I'm going to go first this time. Normally I ask the opposition, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think Everton are going to just find something from somewhere to squeeze out a result. I don't know how. I've just got a sneaky feeling that it might just be. I think it's Everton's last game before Christmas, so yeah, I'm optimistic that we'll find a way to squeeze a goal in and maybe not get the first, but find a way to send the home supporters home happy somehow in the freezing cold. But over to you.
Yeah, I mean, a 1-1 draw is quite feasible the way we're playing, I think. I do think we'll play a bit better than last week, having the week off. Saliba back makes a difference too. I mean, it's hard for me to not predict an Arsenal win going for the title. We need to keep winning. When this game kicks off, we'll inevitably be second in the league because Man City are going to win about 30-0 against West Ham at lunchtime on Saturday. So I think we need to win, and I will go for the win. I think if we do win, I'm fairly sure it's, well, I say fairly sure, you never know, but I doubt it would be like by 2 or 3 goals. I would probably, but we haven't kept a clean sheet for a while, so I'm going to go for a 1-0 Arsenal win, like potentially a scrappy set piece. I'll go for the 1-0.
I don't think we've had an opposition fan on the channel where they've kind of said that they think Everton's going to win or anything like that. So I think that there are some Everton fans that are thinking, well, if it's only 1-0, then they probably would take that. But of course, no one wants to see their side lose, and I think there'll be 52,800 or so supporters backing their side to win. Obviously, Arsenal taking a travelling contingent, sitting up in the 210 block, I think, in the northeast corner.
Presumably not as far to the roof of the stadium as we go at Newcastle, where it's
that's very steep. That's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But it's been a pleasure having you on, and for everyone that's been watching, whether you're watching now at 9:24 on Thursday night, or just before kickoff, it's always great to have your company, and make sure that you do tell everyone you know about Follow Everton. We started in lockdown when it was my 2 brothers and I with a cat crawling across the screen and literally no one watching. And now with circa 5,000 subscribers, we want to push on. But we need your support to do it. So make sure you tell everyone you know about Follow Everton, and we'll enjoy your company next time. And of course, we have a match to look forward to on Saturday, and we'll be looking before and after with our kind of just team news and then match reaction. Hopefully to 3 points to the toffee, but we'll see about that. And of course, whatever the score is, we always go live, win, lose, or draw, or match postponed, as we saw with the Everton v Liverpool game last season, when I did a preview and then the game never even went ahead. But of course, whatever the result, we look forward to having your company. It's a great chance to vent, have a moan, frustrate your anger, or celebrate a win. We do tend to get more people watch when we lose, I will admit. But anyway, it's from me, it's from David, from everyone at the Follow Everton team. I just want to say thanks so much for joining us and for your support throughout this year. And enjoy the game, and we'll see you all on the other side.
Thank you.